What if I told you the thing holding you back is something no one else can see? Not a lack of talent, not your background, not your past, but fear.
Have you ever had a moment where you wanted to speak but your voice locked up?
Where you knew what to do, but your hands trembled and your heart raced? That right there is the silent killer, fear. It whispers in your ear when you're about to take a risk. It shows up when opportunity knocks. It disguises itself as logic, caution, or even wisdom. But deep down, it's just fear. And it's been stealing from you. Fear is not loud. It doesn't scream. It works quietly like a shadow. It's the enemy that lives inside. It doesn't need chains to hold you back. It just needs doubt. You see, most people think fear is about danger. But in today's world, fear isn't about survival. It's psychological. It's emotional. It's internal. Fear tells you you're not ready. You'll embarrass yourself. What will they think of you? It feeds on overthinking. It feeds on perfectionism. It feeds on your past mistakes and builds a cage out of memories. And here's the truth. That cage, you're the only one holding the key. But before we break it open, understand this. Fear is normal. Everyone feels it, even the strongest, the most successful, the most respected. But what separates the few from the many is this. The strong don't let fear lead. They feel it, but move anyway. They hear the doubt, but speak anyway. They see the risk, but act anyway. Fear cannot survive in the presence of movement. Once you take action, once you speak, once you rise, it weakens, it backs off. But here's the cruel trick. Fear doesn't show up when you're doing nothing. It comes when you're about to grow. It comes when you're stepping into something new. That's how you know you're on the right path. Because fear is loudest when your future is about to change. So let me ask you, how long will you let fear steal from you? Your ideas, your voice, your greatness, all locked behind a door called what if. What if I fail? Or what if they laugh? What if I'm not good enough? But what if you succeed? What if your voice inspires someone? What if the one thing you're afraid to do becomes the thing that changes your life? Fear wants to keep you small. It wants you to stay comfortable, silent, unnoticed. But greatness has never been born in comfort. It lives in the unknown, in the uncomfortable, in the terrifying. Every leader, every visionary, every change maker has had to walk through fear, not around it, through it. And here's the reward if you choose to do the same, freedom. The freedom to be who you really are. The freedom to speak your truth. The freedom to rise, even if your knees shake. But don't expect the fear to disappear. It doesn't vanish. It just learns to step aside when it realizes you won't. So stay with this video until the very end. Because by the time you reach the last word, you'll have something fear doesn't want you to have, clarity. And once you have that, fear loses its grip. Remember this, the enemy is not outside of you. It's the voice that says, don't try. It's the feeling that says, stay small. But you weren't born to shrink. You were born to speak, to lead, to rise. And if fear is standing at the door, kick it down. This isn't just about motivation. This is about taking your power back, because fear is a liar. And today, you stop listening. If you think the people you admire don't feel fear, you're wrong. They feel it. They just don't obey it. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision that something else matters more. And that's where leaders are different. They feel the weight, the pressure, the fear of failing, but they keep moving. They've learned how to stand tall even when their hands shake. Most people wait for fear to disappear before they act. But leaders know that day never comes, so they don't wait. They speak up even when their voice is uncertain. They walk forward even when the path is unclear, because they know that movement breaks fear. Stillness feeds it. The truth is, fear never fully leaves, but you learn to carry it differently. You learn that fear doesn't have to be a stop sign. It can be a signal that you're growing, a signal that you're stepping into something bigger than you were yesterday. It's easy to believe others were born brave, but no one is born brave. We all start with shaking knees and a racing heart. Bravery is a choice made one small step at a time. The people who speak with impact, who lead with confidence, they didn't start that way. They started with fear, just like you. But they refused to bow to it. They trained their voice, their mindset, their presence day after day. And that's what makes them different. Not that they're fearless, but that they fear less with every step forward. If you feel fear, congratulations. It means you're human. It means you're alive. But now you have a choice. Let it lead you, or let it remind you that you're headed somewhere worth going. Fear wears many faces, but its goal is always the same: control. It doesn't need to chain your body. It just needs to confuse your mind. It whispers lies in your thoughts. You're not ready. You're not smart enough. They'll laugh at you. And if you listen long enough, you'll believe it. But here's the truth. Fear isn't a voice of reason. It's a story you've been telling yourself over and over again until it became your reality. The story that says you're too broken, too late, too flawed to rise. But that story is fiction. It's not who you are. It's who fear wants you to be. The mind believes what you repeat. Repeat fear, you'll live in it. Repeat doubt, and it becomes your identity. But when you start repeating truth, something powerful happens. You begin to wake up. Fear loses its strength the moment you expose it. When you speak the lie out loud, you realize how small it actually is. You realize fear is not truth. It's just noise. Noise that's been keeping you from your voice, your dream, your purpose. So ask yourself, what lie has fear been telling you? And what has it already stolen from your life? Fear doesn't come to challenge your ability. It comes to challenge your belief. It doesn't care how much potential you have. It only cares whether you'll bury it or build it. But here's the power you hold. You can choose the voice you listen to. And once you stop feeding fear, it starts starving. So silence the lies with truth. Speak it, live it, repeat it, until it becomes louder than fear ever was. Because the only thing worse than failing is never trying because a lie told you not to. No one is born confident. No one opens their eyes on day one knowing how to lead, how to speak, how to stand strong. Confidence is not in your blood. It's built with effort, with repetition, with fire. Confidence grows in silence. It grows in the dark places where no one claps for you. It grows every time you try, even when you feel like a mess. Most people are waiting for confidence before they take action. But confidence doesn't come before action. It comes from action. You take the first step. You try. You fail. You learn. And somewhere in that messy process, confidence starts to form. It doesn't show up in your comfort zone. It waits outside it. You find it when your hands are shaking, but you speak anyway. When your legs feel heavy, but you move anyway. That's where it lives. Confidence is a result, not a requirement. It's what you earn when you keep showing up. It's what you gain when you stop waiting to feel ready. Every time you do the thing fear told you not to do, you build a brick. One by one, you stack them. And one day you look back and realize you've built a foundation, a voice that no longer hides, a presence that doesn't shrink, a belief that doesn't waver every time someone doubts you. Confidence doesn't mean you won't be afraid. It means you know how to move with fear, not under it. And you already have what it takes to build it. You don't need perfect words. You don't need to be loud or flawless. You just need to take the next step, then the next, and the next, brick by brick, action by action. That's how real confidence is made. Your voice is not just sound, it's your power. It carries your thoughts, your truth, your presence. And fear knows that. That's why it attacks your voice first. Because the moment you begin to speak, really speak, you become impossible to ignore. Your voice was never meant to hide in the shadows. It was meant to lead, to influence, to shift the atmosphere. Fear wraps itself around your throat. It tells you to be quiet, tells you to blend in. It tells you no one wants to hear you. That's the lie. The truth is, your voice can open doors that fear slammed shut. It can light a fire in someone else who's been walking in silence. It can break cycles. It can move minds. It can save lives. The most powerful leaders in history didn't lead with armies first. They led with their words, with their voice, with their beliefs spoken out loud. And you have that same tool. But the world doesn't need more noise. It needs truth. And your voice carries truth if you choose to use it. You don't have to shout. You don't have to speak like anyone else. You just have to show up with what's real. Because people don't connect to volume. They connect to authenticity. Every time you use your voice with courage, you weaken fear's grip. You become more than a whisper in your own life. You become a presence. So speak even when your heart pounds. Speak even when your mind doubts, because your voice has the power to unlock not just your future, but the future of someone else who's waiting for your words. And once you understand that, you'll never go silent again. When you speak like you matter, everything changes. Because you do. Your words matter. Your presence matters. Your message matters. But fear wants you to forget that. It wants you to think your voice is small, that your ideas are ordinary, that your story doesn't carry weight. But people don't follow perfection. They follow honesty. They follow strength. They follow someone who believes in what they say. You don't need to sound like anyone else. You don't need polished words or perfect timing. You just need belief. Belief in your right to speak. Belief that your voice deserves space. Belief that what you say could be the spark someone else needs. When you speak like you matter, you stand differently. You breathe deeper. You stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. You stop apologizing for existing. It's not arrogance, it's awareness. Awareness that you've been silent too long. Awareness that you've got something inside that the world needs to hear. Not someday, not when it's perfect. Now, you'll never know the full impact of your words. But someone's waiting on the other side of your courage, and they won't hear what they need if you keep holding back. So lift your head, open your mouth, and speak like it counts, because it does. You matter. Your voice matters. And the moment you speak from that place, you stop being afraid, and you start becoming unstoppable. Every day there's a battle inside you, not outside, not in the world, but deep in your mind. It's the war between doubt and truth. Doubt is loud. It knows your weaknesses. It knows your failures. It whispers at the worst times, you're not enough. You always mess up. Or why even try? But here's what most people forget. Doubt has no power unless you agree with it. It's only a voice, a shadow, a replay of old fears pretending to be facts. Truth, on the other hand, is quiet. It doesn't scream. It waits. It waits for you to slow down, or to breathe, to listen. And when you do, you'll hear it say, you've been through worse. You are not finished. You are more than your fear. The voice of truth doesn't deny your flaws. It reminds you that flaws don't define you. It reminds you of your growth, your strength, your purpose. And every time you choose to listen to truth instead of doubt, you take back ground. You reclaim your mind. You rebuild your identity. It won't happen all at once. Some days doubt will win. But every time you fight back, you get stronger, clearer, more certain of who you are. You can't silence doubt forever, but you can stop giving it the final word. So the next time that inner voice rises up and says, you can't answer with truth, I already have. I'm still standing, and I'm not done yet. That's the real war, not the one around you, but the one within. And you? You're built for this fight. How long have you been waiting? Waiting for the right moment, the right words, the right support, the right permission? But here's the truth. No one is coming to give it to you. There is no golden moment. No sign from the sky, no voice that says, you're ready now, because waiting for permission is just fear in disguise. It's the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, the fear of standing alone. But the leaders you admire, they didn't wait. They started when it was messy. They spoke when their voice cracked. They showed up before anyone clapped. Permission didn't make them great. Action did. And the same is true for you. You don't need someone else to approve your dream. You don't need a title, a platform, or a crowd. You need belief. You need fire. You need the courage to begin without applause. This world doesn't reward people who wait. It rewards people who move, people who rise, people who claim their space, even if their hands are shaking. So stop waiting for someone to open the door. Kick it open yourself. Step through it. Own it. Because your voice doesn't need permission, your growth doesn't need a gatekeeper, and your future doesn't belong to fear. Say it to yourself right now, I don't need to be chosen. I choose myself. That's where it begins. That's where the power returns. Not when the world finally gives you a chance, but when you stop asking for one. Leadership isn't about a title. It's not about having followers or applause. Real leadership starts here, inside you, with self-belief. You cannot inspire others if you don't believe in yourself first. You cannot lead a crowd if you're not leading your own mind. Because belief is the foundation of action. It's the fire that fuels courage. When you believe in yourself, you carry a quiet strength, not arrogance, but certainty, a knowing that no matter what happens, you will keep going. Without self-belief, fear takes over. It convinces you that you're not worthy, that your voice is too small, that your dreams are too big. But belief turns those lies upside down. It says, I am worthy, my voice is strong, my dreams are possible. Belief doesn't mean you won't have doubts or fears. It means you acknowledge them and move forward anyway. You hold your head high when the world tries to knock you down. Every leader you admire, no matter how confident they seem, has had to build this belief. They face setbacks, failures, and moments of self-doubt. But they refused to stay stuck there. They chose to believe in themselves more than their fears. That choice is yours, right now. Choose to believe in your power. Choose to trust your path. Choose to show up for yourself, even on the hardest days. Because when you lead with belief, fear loses its grip. Doubt fades away, and your voice, your true voice, starts to shine. This is where your leadership begins, not with others, but with you. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's strength. It's courage. It's the raw truth that every great leader knows, but few admit. To be vulnerable means to show up as you are, imperfect, uncertain, real. It means risking judgment, rejection, and failure. But it also means opening the door to connection, growth, and true influence. Fear wants you to hide behind masks, to pretend you have it all figured out, to act like you're invincible. But real leaders understand this. When you show your true self, you inspire others to do the same. You create trust, you build bonds, you lead from a place of authenticity. Think about the people you respect most, the ones who move you with their words and actions. Chances are they didn't get there by pretending. They got there by being real, sharing their struggles, their failures, their fears. And that openness gives others permission to be brave too, to step into their own truth, to speak their own voice. The courage to be vulnerable is the bridge from fear to freedom. It's the moment when you stop fighting yourself and start accepting who you are, not perfect but powerful, not flawless but fearless. So stop trying to be someone else. Stop hiding your story. Your imperfections are your strength. Your struggles are your fuel. When you dare to be vulnerable, you show the world that fear doesn't control you. You show that you're ready to lead, honestly, boldly, and fully. And that kind of courage, it's contagious. Big changes don't come from giant leaps. They come from small wins, tiny victories that add up over time. And each small win is a step away from fear and toward confidence. When you're scared, the future feels overwhelming. You want to change everything at once, but that only feeds the fear. It paralyzes you. So start small. Say one brave word. Take one small action. Make one decision that scares you just a little. Each time you do, you prove to yourself that fear isn't the boss, or that you have control, that you can move forward. Small wins are like muscles. They get stronger the more you use them. With every small success, your belief grows. Your voice gets clearer. Your fear gets quieter. Celebrate these wins. Don't dismiss them as not enough. They are enough. Because confidence isn't built overnight. It's built moment by moment. Remember, the most confident people you know have thousands of these small wins behind them. They didn't wake up one day fearless. They earned it. And you can too. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, every time you speak up, even when you're nervous, you're building your future. You're proving that fear doesn't control you. You're building a life where you lead, not because fear disappeared, but because you learned to walk through it. So don't wait for a giant moment. Look for the small ones. Those little acts of courage that shape who you become, because those small wins, they are the true power behind unstoppable confidence.